Hey everybody, so I'm here with my good friend Nazbol gang. And just before we get started, I'll remind you as I do every time. There we go. I have to mute the stream. My friend's channel is down in the description. Please subscribe and support him. And my book, No Chance, A Postmodern Odyssey, is now available in both paperback and Kindle. And we got links to that down in the description. So it's good to have you back on, my friend.
Well, yeah. These are always fun.
Mm-hmm. I think I like to hope that you're a viewer favorite by this point in time.
You used to have a lot more people who would come on before, but
yeah, it's really hard to get people together.
Yeah,
As I'm sure you've noticed from your experience as a DM.
Oh yeah.
It's really hard to get people to meet at a scheduled time.
Yeah. Well, it's like herding cats. Maybe it'd be better if it was in real life. I don't know.
Well, that and we're just all in different time zones.
Yeah.
So
I think you wanted to talk about France to begin.
Yeah, let's just start off with France and then we'll move on to our topic of the day. So, what do you think about the whole France thing?
Well, I think that the Fifth Republic is not exactly stable to begin with.
It lasted longer than some of the republics did, I think.
The first and the second and the fourth
and the consulate.
Oh, I do. I don't know. They always count from the revolution until Napoleon took power as the first republic.
Oh, so they don't count the directory?
Yeah, they don't count all the different constitutions of the period.
Oh, okay. Justin Evangelisto says you were a viewer favorite.
Oh, why, thank you. Anyway, so I don't really know. It just seems like it just came out of nowhere with this Yellow Jacket thing.
I wanted to have someone on, but I couldn't find anybody who knew anything about it. I didn't want to just do a stream where I was rambling incoherently.
It just seems like that it's just rioting to riot. Like, it's just, there's like Muslims rioting, blacks rioting, Nazis, or wow, I just pissed on myself. Right-wing nationalist rioting, communist rioting, communist rioting, anarchist rioting, probably like De Gaullist rioting. It's just like everybody and their dog is rioting the riot, and it started off because, from my understanding, American, like it's like $7.50 to pay for gasoline there.
For like a gallon, or I guess it would be a liter.
Yeah, for a gallon, it's like $7.50 American dollars or something.
Right, I'm used to it in liters, but let me just do the math for a second. How many gallons are in a liter? Okay, 4. Okay, that's still substantially more money than it is here. So he was raising the fuel tax, right?
Yeah, so he was raising the fuel tax, and from my understanding, it has to do with like remember that global warming agreement that Trump left?
Yeah.
It has to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically a tax on fuel to subsidize like Africa.
Is it that, or is it because of the general brokenness of the French government?
Well, I mean, they just keep raising taxes on everything infinitesimally, or sorry, it's the opposite, but indefinitely. They just keep raising the taxes on everything, and the government is like, can't function. The government deliberately has no data on who's in prison, of what race, of all that kind of stuff. Like, we have no idea.
You should like the taxes going up, though.
Well, they're taxes, but they're not going to the people at all. They're going to like illegal.
No, I'm just joking. I remember reading at one point there was over 100% tax rate on some people in France because they like issued a couple levies and they took back some tax credits or something. So some people were paying more than 100%.
Yeah, well, the whole system's a fucking giant clusterfuck. the state's unstable. Like the electoral system is directly like created so that because France, as you said before, France has like the most far left wing, the most far right wing parties, and they have a presidential system, which is directly created to prevent those far right and far left parties from winning. You have the biggest party in the entire country having virtually no representation in any body of government except for like.
Is it, or is On March the largest?
On March is the largest in terms of who's in office, but I thought Front National is the largest in terms of members.
I don't think so, but then again, On March isn't really a political party. It's just a bunch of people who wanted Gives Me That and rode to power on Macron's back. So, like, do you have them? And then what's the name of the communist guy again?
He created his own party to run. I was
Melancon or
yeah, it's Melancon, but he created his own. It's like La France.
Oh, France Unbowed or
yeah.
Yeah, the
Nazbol. Again, he doesn't have any support in that. He has like 17 seats in the National Assembly.
Right. What's interesting though, I was reading about it today. The French Senate is elected by, I guess, kind of more what you like. It's geographically based, and I think it's indirectly elected by officials and politicians at different levels of government. So the center right basically has a permanent majority because it's geographically based, and as with most countries, everything outside of the major cities is right-winged.
Yeah, it says I'm on Wikipedia. The Republicans have 142 out of 348. Mm-hmm. By comparison, On March has 21, and the Socialist Party has 86.
Mm-hmm. But, and here's the thing, like, I kind of get... I don't know if it's just the conservative in me, like the remnant. I don't always think austerity is necessarily a bad thing, because in a lot of the cases, I feel it's like someone trying to be the adult and taking like the kid who's just binging on candy, like trying to take the candy away and making them eat vegetables.
Well, what kind of? Well, first of all, the Laffer curve does objectively exist.
Right.
So, and there's certain kinds of taxes that are just like don't work very well anyway.
No, I mean in general, because I don't know, maybe someone in the chat can tell me. Maybe he cut some stuff, because like that's what happened in Greece and a lot of countries where they when they cut spending, people just rioted. And it's like, I don't know, at a certain point in time, you have to try to like not bankrupt the state, because that's what's happening in Ontario at the moment. The Conservatives are cutting French language services because no one really uses them outside of Eastern Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very expensive. And the previous government vowed to make like a French language university, which we have a lot of bilingual universities. So I don't know why they need a French language one, but yeah, they're having to cut it, and they're having to cut some other stuff, and people are just ragging on them. And it's like, I'm sorry for being the like, I don't know, like
the grown-up conservative corporate decisions person.
Yeah, but it's like you have to pay for stuff at some point. You have to be an adult.
Well, doesn't like basically all students get free schooling in Ontario?
Yeah.
Do you want to move on to talking about LARPer?
We will in a second. So yeah, it's to me, a lot of people like, oh, this is the rebirth of French nationalism. This is going to be, I know Ramsey Paul did a video on it, and I thought like it was going to be a joke. Like at the very last minute, he was going to go, no, it's not. But he was unironically like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah,
I think it's rioting that gives me that.
I don't have any idea. I think it's right. I think that basically the whole country is like in complete shit. They've had 10% unemployment for years. Macron isn't supported by any base other than like everybody voted for him that didn't support the so-called far right, right? And there was probably like at least multiple percentage points, probably not 2 percentage points of electoral fraud there. So it's not like an accurate representation of like where the people stand. And then the other thing is that he doesn't have like he's just some guy who got fucking raped by a teacher or whatever and then married her. Like what kind of person is that running your country?
But like I don't know, to me it feels like they're rioting to make the irresponsible policies go on.
Oh yeah, but that's part of the thing of democracy which makes it so awesome.
Yeah, but no, I'm just saying like people are LARPing and they're like, oh, it's going to be the Sixth Republic. We're going to bring the monarchy back. I don't think it's that. I think it's just people who are having their candy taken away and they're throwing a fit about it.
So
sorry to be the boomer con, but let's move on. So this is Yang 2020. So red pill me on Yang.
Yang is this guy who's he's a children of like Taiwanese immigrants. He's like this, what do you call it? He's like this venture capitalist, like the poor Chinese version of, I don't know, what's the South African guy? I'm so fucking retarded right now. He's like the Chinese version of Elon Musk. And he has all these like really techie, like left wing, like not soy boy, Bugman like propositions for running for president. And he has, so I looked into him because I've been really fascinated what the 2020 Democratic primary is going to look like.
Do you think they're kind of fucked for it?
Oh, I think the Democratic primary is going to be the greatest shit show in like in a century in the U.S. politics because
they're going
to have so many people.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Well, I can so they took out. So do you remember like the 2008 and 2012 Democratic primaries were extremely close, where the final like states like Montana and Wyoming and states at the very end of the entire process had like they had candidates going there multiple times because it was that close, both between Hillary and Obama and then Hillary and Sanders. So you start out with something like that to where they actually do need the super delegates. The Republicans haven't had that sort of thing, I don't think, ever happened. So the last two primaries that happened to the Democrats, now they are forced to take out the super delegates, which prevented it from going off on the ballots to be where like who knows what the fuck will happen. And you'll have a smoked up room and some dark horse candidate.
Sorry, if I could just interrupt for the primary wasn't that close for the Democratic Party. Sanders only got 43% of the vote.
Well, he contested until the very end.
How much fraud was there? Do you think?
I mean, multiple states.
Because
so New Hampshire and Iowa. Wasn't there substantial fraud there with like coin flipping in Iowa and then like Sanders won New Hampshire, but Hillary got the same amount of delegates as him?
Yeah, I think also it's just because it's proportional for the Democrats. It's not winner take all.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's part of it. But the thing is that this time there's already like 3 or 4 people have already declared. And the other thing is that, so it's not even like, Trump's term isn't even technically halfway over. It won't be halfway over until January 20th.
Yeah.
Right? So you have that, and then you have that there's so many racial constituents, and you have that the neoconservatives are abandoning it. So you're having all these people from the military they're running. And then you also have that you're able to have millionaires and billionaires finance their own parties like Yang, and like seeing that Trump won, there's already, I think, multiple millionaires and billionaires that are going to attempt to run. I don't think that somebody like Yang is going to win. That would be fucking hilarious if he did. But I wanted to just show you kind of the craziness of what people are going to be advocating in these primaries.
Oh, okay. Hillary actually won the popular vote.
In 2008, yeah. Yeah, she did. That's how fucking
Did people complain about, or did they say it was legitimate in that case to win without the popular vote, but it's not when Trump did?
I don't know. I was like,
because do you think I could almost see Trump winning just because of what a shit show it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that Trump's not going to win.
No, I mean, I think if they had like a strong candidate, I think it would be very hard.
Well, I think if they got somebody like Beto O'Rourke, that Trump would be fucked. Like if they got Beto O'Rourke to be president, Trump would get fucking ruined. Like he would just fucking deck the shit out of Trump.
Oh, sorry. Just a side note. Have you been vomiting over the George Bush Sr. hagiography?
I haven't been paying. I don't.
Okay, because in Canada,
they're running like I don't have to.
Okay, in Canada, they're running 24/7 tributes to him and calling him like the greatest president of the 20th century.
What? I'm not. Well, first of all, actually, ideologically speaking, FDR is for me. I don't see why they would. Why?
Because he's considered to be like very liberal.
He's anti-Trump or whatever.
Yeah, because he's anti-Trump and he
did NAFTA and he did Desert Storm.
International cooperation. They thought he was like, they called him like the OG globalist.
Yeah.
Because the left is very pro-globalism now. Also, they're very pro-Bush now, which was kind of funny.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that.
So sorry, you said a bunch of neocons are running in the Democratic primary?
Yeah, so already there's 3 declared so-called major candidates if you go to like Wikipedia, and one of them is a former like captain or something. If you look during all the House races and stuff where Democrats had like lots and lots of GI Janes and shit like that were running, and they're getting more and more former military people that are running for office more and more, and like former CIA people and shit like that. And what's happening is that the Republicans are losing a lot of their donor bases that supported neocons now that Trump has taken over the party. Right. So funding is extremely lopsided now.
Wasn't it for a long time just because of unions in Hollywood?
Oh, I'm sure, but
it's much worse
like
now.
Really bad now. Yeah, I think it's like maybe like 2 or 3 times. Like it would have been like, I think during when Trump ran for president it was like 1.5, but now it's probably like 2, like over 2, maybe getting into like 3 times.
Someone in the chat says they'll probably start shilling for Cheney next.
Well, they're making that Cheney movie.
Because isn't Cheney
pro-gay marriage?
Yeah, so he'll probably get.
They're making that movie and they'll probably like be really pro that movie.
But they like called him the Antichrist. They said he was like the most evil man like who ever lived. And
well, if McCain won, he would have been the most evil man that ever lived, dude. Like it was revealed that like what was the movie Dreams for My Real Father, if that was right, and then like they somehow revealed it during the election and somehow McCain won in 2008, McCain would have been known as like the great Satan in all of history.
Would he have invaded Iran?
Would he have had the House support? Like I don't know.
Well, he might have just
like had
Obama unilaterally did a bunch of shit. Did he have approval for going into Libya?
Like he probably would have like put boots on the ground in Libya at least. I mean, he wanted to go to war over fucking Georgia.
Will Hillary run again?
It's likely.
Will she be like in life support?
Oh, that's the thing about it is Sanders, Hillary, and Biden, which are your 2 like people that are. That's what makes it so interesting is they're all way old,
mm-hmm.
and they're all like nobody knows which of them are going to run. Hillary will probably run, though, because there's a lot of people that said Hillary is probably going to run that are like analysts and stuff.
Right.
Well, what's going to happen is that so your first two states are Iowa and New Hampshire. So you're going to have, like, if you have somebody like, I don't know, Beto O'Rourke or whatever, he'll win those states. But if you have Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, after that, it's all like really southern states. So you have all black parties there, and they'll just fucking rake in those states. So it'll balance it. It'll be really fucked up the balance based off of like racial of who's in the Democratic Party.
Won't Hillary win all the black states if she runs?
No, because if they have an actual black person,
okay,
will win, like Obama did in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Hillary lost, is because Obama carried all the southern states. So if you have that, then you'll have a Mexican. So if you have what's Castor's first name? The guy that was like Department of Housing or whatever.
I don't know.
Mayor of San Antonio. If he runs, then you'll carry like California and you'll carry New Mexico, and it's gonna be a fucking gangbang, dude.
So, I think it's just no, but could you see the party getting so divided it undermines their election campaign?
Oh yeah, it happened in 90 or in 68. So it's going to be like there'll probably be visible protests in front of the.
Was that Dukakis?
No, in 68 that was Juan Castro. In 68 was the protest when Nixon won. When he was against isn't it Montgomery?
Herbert Humphrey.
Yeah, Herbert Humphrey.
No, it was George McGovern that Nixon ran against and got 61% of the vote.
Okay, I'm confused which election. Sorry, my U.S. history degree isn't always perfect because I forget shit.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so in one of those, was it the McGovern election, or are you talking about how George Wallace ran?
George Wallace ran in 68.
Yeah.
But Humphrey, like the whole Democratic primary in 68 was a fucking, like, it was fucking horseshit, dude. There was a massive protest in the thing that directly led to Nixon winning.
Why do you think that the Democrats would have won if did Nixon even get a majority of the vote? Let me see.
No, I thought it was like 40%.
He got 43% of the vote.
Yeah, and Humphrey had like 42.
Mm-hmm. See, yeah, it was solely based on that.
I think so. I mean, part of it has to do with like George Wallace and the Solid South. Like, he made it so the South was off limits.
No, I mean the party splitting along those lines.
Oh yeah.
So you think you could see something like that happen again?
I think you'll see mass protest. Like, I'm surprised it didn't happen with Sanders. It's just because Sanders is such a soy boy.
Yeah, Sanders is a massive pussy.
If it was a black person that if it was like Cory Booker who got shut out, he would fucking, dude, there'd be so much protest.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, let's look at what his policies are. Sorry?
So what made him famous and now has pulled him into like people talking about him is he's proposed look at that Medicare for all.
Look at that fucking soy boy fucking, I try to avoid saying that word, but look at that fig with the, what does that say on it? Be happy?
So you have figs and you have white woman with mulatto child.
56% child? Yeah. And universal basic.
I can't tell if that mulatto is a mulatto or a mulatta.
Does it matter?
It could be neither.
Okay, let's see what he says for universal basic income. The freedom dividend. That is Orwellian if I've ever heard it.
Are you gonna read it?
Yeah, okay. Andrew would implement a universal basic income, the freedom dividend, of $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year for people who can't do math. For every American adult between 18 and 64. This is independent of one's work status or any other factor. This would enable all Americans to pay their bills, educate themselves. How much is tuition in the States?
Mine was like $700 a month, and that was a very cheap school, and I lived at home. That was, yeah, I lived at home, so I had like in-state tuition in like a very rural state.
Okay, so like nobody, $12,000 would pay for like almost nobody's school.
No, it wouldn't pay for the, like, you couldn't pay for the books there.
This okay, start businesses, be more creative, stay healthy, relocate for work, spend time with their children, take care of loved ones, and have a real stake in the future. Any change to the freedom dividend would require a constitutional amendment. That sounds like a really bad idea. I mean, just that alone, like, so that means it can't be changed, basically, because constitutional amendments are almost impossible to
undo. There's only been one that was undone in the entire history of the United States, which was the ban on alcohol.
Yeah, so like they aren't even indexing it for inflation. Because isn't that what they normally do from a policy? Like it should be $1,000 a month indexed to inflation from the year it's implemented.
I like how it's such a radical proposal that it has to require constitutional amendments too.
Well, at least he acknowledges that.
But look at like below, he says that it'll increase like the economy, so it'll just pay for itself.
But permanently grow the economy. Like this is like, okay, does Keynesianism actually kind of work if it's done properly?
Well, yeah, but the problem is that basically the United States just inflates money and then just controls it through the Federal Reserve just controls inflation.
Like, but isn't the issue that they do stimulus regardless of how the economy's doing, so it just raises the debt regardless?
Oh yeah, well the United States doesn't need to pay, the taxes don't really pay for, I'm going to steal Mike Enoch here, but they don't really directly pay for. It's just that the government basically, in like the Federal Reserve inflates the money and then it controls the inflation so it's slow, so it doesn't cause a collapse.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to read about his social credit system.
We'll get to it. Okay, so I'm actually going to say basic income is something that I've really been on the fence about because I actually kind of like it. I think it's okay. You know what? I think it's interesting. My issue is it's not going to do what it's supposed to do, which is replace all existing forms of welfare.
Well, the idea of using it is that you would not have a bureaucracy anymore. So then,
no, but they just added on top.
Yeah, but if he would just add it on top, he wouldn't abolish like Social Security and everything, and like. The idea is that you would just abolish the bureaucracy, so it would be more direct and far cheaper.
Right.
But if they try to implement this, they wouldn't do that.
Like, that would cost a massive amount of money. But no, it's multiplier effect. It'll be a perpetual boost in support to job growth in the economy. I mean, the thing about this that kind of makes sense is I think it does incentivize, like, if you have a disabled relative taking care of them.
Oh, instead of like putting them in a nursing home?
Yeah, because you get there.
And then have...
Yeah, because you get some money.
Yeah.
They might make that more available. Like, I get it. The idea is, like, people who are underemployed to try to, like, bring them up to a reasonable level. It's I don't know.
I don't know how you really. I don't
think it could work in like a white high trust society.
Well, I don't know. It's just such an experimental thing. I think to just give people money for existing. Like it's kind of it's a radical concept in the sense of like you give people money if they're like unemployed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to give them so you would have somebody that's just working a normal job, like a truck driver, just gets $12,000 just to.
Okay, so I just want to address something in the chat. Gavin White says the U.S. government already gives basic income. It's called joining the army. Well, we have a friend whose experiences are chronicled in No Chance, and he tried that. It didn't really work out that way. Okay, let's see here. Problems to be solved. 40 million Americans live below the poverty line. How is the poverty line like? Doesn't it just go up?
What do you mean?
Like if they just
Like
paid money
it's like $22,000 for one person, isn't it?
right, but if everybody suddenly made 30,000, like all those people suddenly made 30,000, wouldn't they just raise the poverty line?
Well, yeah, it doesn't. It
So
just
it isn't the same proportion always going to be below the poverty line?
yeah. I mean, I
Okay.
guess you would have to make $10,000 in a year, and then you wouldn't be. But I don't. It's just such a like. Well, if you gave all these people the money,
Guiding principles, freedom, equality, and poverty in the most direct way possible. Giving people money. That's it. That worked in Africa and Latin America. That ended poverty just by giving them money. Move our economy into the next stage of development. Human capitalism with a focus on improving everyone's quality of living.
is there anything about abolishing like unemployment benefits or like destroying the bureaucracy greatly so it would pay for itself? That idea of like,
No, because like if you look at it, it actually when you consider that the American government actually spends like I think it's like twice as much per capita on medical care
mm-hmm.
for Americans, and you guys don't even get shit covered.
I
Like,
mean, I support it in turn. Like, I mean, if you could just tell me, like, get rid of all these programs overnight and replace it with this, yeah, that would be so much cheaper. But that's not what they do because they can't do that because you have public unions that are represented by that have you have public unions that prevent bureaucrats from being fired in the United States.
because like it kind of what was I was thinking about again because do you because it seems possible to me that the government spends more than $12,000 per person, including people who aren't on these programs for these programs. So, okay,
Well,
prevent the
take
mass.
the population, the U.S., and then divide by the budget, and then subtract stuff like security and military out of it. But I don't know if you want to do that now.
No, I just somebody at home can do that. I actually kind of agree with human capitalism is a fucking like awful term, but I do think there should be a focus that we've built all this wealth. We should try to make things like nicer for people. Like we don't need to keep.
Well, I think that part of if you read through Strasser, he talks a lot about well, it is for the McDonald's fund. But if you read through Strasser, he talks a lot about the development of industrialization should be used, not proficiency in developing technology, but for freeing people from labor so people work less. And that's a thing in Marxism that people forget about, is that the idea that as technology becomes better and the wealth from technology increases, then you're going to lead to a situation where people don't need to work as much. But that
I'm fine with the 4-day work week. That doesn't sound like
that's something I really do support. I think you should develop a 4-day week.
I don't think there's any like it's like I don't we have all this wealth as a society. Let's enjoy it a little. There's like I don't I you know what I mean by that. I don't mean like let's all like get high on cocaine or something. But
Well, I think that it would be a better society if you had it, if we didn't focus on having cars and we focused on working less and living without like cars and cell phones.
something interesting in the UK is there's more of the population that can live rural because the rail system's much better. So they can just take the train into the major cities. I just wanted to say thank you to Nost who gave me $10 for the McDonald's fund.
Is that a meme?
What? Not that I know of, but I'll go to McDonald's because I always buy lunch on Fridays. I make my lunch 4 days a week and I buy it on Friday. So I'll go to McDonald's and I'll get a Big Mac or something. Anti-troll says some people don't want to work less, like some people derive meaning from their jobs. And like that's true. I'm not going to disagree with that. I think there can be a bit more of a work-life balance. Is I think what I'm trying to mean.
Put your own life into context, Argent.
Yeah.
I think if you've been a fan of this, well, have you talked about that of like people working at home and having to call all the time? That's something that really needs to go.
Yeah, it's like there's no real need for it. It's not like I don't know. I think this is also kind of a Christian thing where we want people to spend more time with their families.
Yeah. Well, if you go back to his main page and he wants more people, he wants to end divorces and he has a unique way of ending divorces.
Okay, let me just finish this. Okay, let's see here. I do think if everything gets automated, we'll probably have to do something like this. But okay, let's go back and look at some of his policies. Let's see what the soy boy has to say.
Go to he wants to have government socialized
okay. Sorry, I gotta see this.
The government socialized
the degeneracy. Let's see here. People are people and all love is beautiful. What happens if you bring up pedophilia to these people?
They look the other way and cough until
like okay, so anti-troll says some people have low IQ and they aren't creative enough to find constructive ways to spend their time in the absence of work. I don't know, they could do volunteer work or something else that benefits society. I don't know. It's just I think it's a conversation we need to have. Justin Evangelisto says 4 days a week, more like 36 holy days. Sorry, I'll stop reading chat. Okay, so too many Americans who identify as LGBTQ are discriminated against based on who they are. Okay, I don't know. That's really low.
He has censorship on one of his main things is censorship. Scroll down to the bottom and look up
right to privacy / abortion and contraception.
Scroll all the way to the bottom and look at media fragmentation.
Making taxes FOD?
Yeah, he wants to have national tax day.
Paying taxes is a slog. Let's make it a celebration. Revenue Day. Let's see. The day taxes are due should be a federal holiday. That day should feature celebrations. Each American should be able to direct 1% of their taxes towards a specific project. During Revenue Day, these projects will be highlighted, showing what exactly America's money was able to accomplish during the previous year. Would like half the country put that towards their church?
What do you mean?
Like if they could direct part of their taxes?
Does he say that would be legal? I think he means direct it. So if you wanted to direct it towards the military or whichever welfare problem or towards building public libraries or something like that.
Okay. Oh, all right. Making paying taxes patriotic and fun. Connect people to what they're... Okay, and I just want to... Sorry, we're jumping all over the place. This is something I really hate, is all the people who attack Trump for tax fraud because he took legal deductions.
Well, they did that before. That's a strategy that they use because the idea that the rich don't pay taxes and trickle down taxes. That's what they did on Romney too, but it wasn't as big of a deal.
Okay, but the thing is, I take every single deduction I can on my taxes. Like I dig
Yeah, because you're
through,
not retarded.
I dig up all of my like medical receipts. I report all the income I get from YouTube and donations, but I will like I claim like Microsoft Office, my editing software, this new microphone I'll claim on my taxes. So I just try to do file out. So it's just like, and I did a parody video way back called the Fair Share Pledge, where you donate your entire tax refund to the U.S. government.
It would be interesting to see, like, if you could guide a small amount of your taxes or whatever, what people would do. I mean, what veterans give it to the military and teachers give it to education and libraries.
I kind of like in some European countries where you can earmark some of your money towards your religious institution. Like you can do that in Italy and Germany. But yeah, okay, so federal holiday. It's so lame. Okay. Media fragmentation. Outside of extreme cases of malicious libel, the freedom of the press is inviolate. However, okay, so I love this.
Continue for a little bit without me.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, sorry, just one second. I just want to say I hate the freedom of speech is like inviolate, and then they say but. Like if you're pro censorship, just say you're fucking pro censorship. Don't be a bitch about it. Just say I want to censor people. Okay, however, fragmentation of our media is a growing problem. Different communities are receiving their news exclusively through different channels, resulting in worldviews with differing facts that rarely overlap. We can't decide on shared values if we don't agree on basic facts. We can't find shared solutions if we don't agree what the problems are. I thought diversity was our strength, though. Whatever. The government should not meddle with the free press, but government should support the major media and technology companies in finding solutions to the issues. After the Russian influence campaign and the Hungarian influence campaign, the American influence came on Hungary, Facebook, Twitter, and also other social media companies have started to investigate ways to mitigate these issues. The government should be supporting them in any way they deem appropriate. So, reunify the press. What the fuck does that mean? That's like the most China economy strong thing I've ever heard. I don't know. Do you have anything to say about that? Oh, looks like he had to step out for a minute. Let's see here. Yeah, that's like the most fucking Orwellian thing I've ever seen.
Sorry, my cat puked, but I was cleaning it up, I was laughing so hard. It's so we need to ban alternative media because that's alternative media is against free speech.
So he's saying that we need to create media trusts. Isn't that what he's saying? We need basically to have media. We need to restore the oligopoly.
Well, he's saying that the government needs to have. Doesn't he say that it needs to be state sponsored? It needs to be like direct.
I kind of miss the days of 3 networks and a few news programs that said the same thing. Well, we can't get back there. We need to establish some rules of the road and standards so that our national discourse doesn't degenerate into a million incoherent news bubbles. Like,
this is kind of scary.
Yeah, this is scary. Okay, making taxes fun.
Okay, he supports socialized wedding counselors. If you can find that one.
That sounds kind of based, actually. Right, the freedom dividend, climate change, reduce mass incarceration. Oh, let's see what he says about gun control.
It says a lot, apparently.
We should require people to pass a test to own a gun.
Call me a cuck, but that's a good thing.
I actually never got. Maybe I'm a cuck. I don't see what's so bad about having people take a gun safety course before they get a license. Like to get a license. Like I don't think we need to have gun registry or anything like that.
I think what he's saying is that that's done at the state level and he wants it to be done at the federal level.
Oh, okay. Because I think it should be done at the state level. Like, I guess, like, if you're shooting a gun with your dad, that's fine. But in general, I think...
Holy shit! Skip down to we should align gun manufacturers' incentives to the public by fining manufacturers $1 million for each victim of a gun crime.
What? What does that even mean?
You're not on it right now.
No, I am. No, I am.
We should...
We should raise the bar to restrict the ownership of military-style semi-automatic weapons that can incur mass casualties. We should offer to buy back guns, no questions asked, and offer to upgrade guns to signature guns that can only be fired by the owner.
So,
but do they ever give anywhere near what the value of the gun is when they do buybacks?
I don't think so, but if you had it to where the government automatically fined every gun manufacturer for a person that was murdered with that gun, guns would be illegal instantly.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't say even people murdered in mass murder. Even there, it says people that are killed in gun crime. So that means like every black guy that breaks into a house and steals a Glock and kills like another black guy with it. Well, sorry, your company just got fined $1 million for that murderer just stole that gun.
So should GM be fined $1 million for every time a van of peace kills people?
Exactly. It should be.
We should initiate an ammunition registry to track suspicious purposes. Okay. That is fucking crazy. Reduce mass incarceration. No, America needs it, unfortunately.
What do you mean?
To keep certain aspects of the population under control.
Well, if you just had the death penalty, you can make
that's true.
Easier, but
I mean, I prefer the death penalty or fines or public beatings to prison. I think prison is cruel and unusual.
Do you want to go to modernized voting?
Yeah, where's modernized voting?
It's towards the end.
Increase teachers' salaries.
There's he wants to like look up American Mall Act. That one's really funny. You can get to it.
I love how much stuff he has.
If you look at the top, it's like the Iowa Democratic Party says he has the most proposals of any candidate ever.
Okay, teachers' salary should be higher because I want them to vote for me. American Mall Act. Malls used to be a hub for socialization and commerce in many American communities. They were where families would go shopping for school supplies before grabbing dinner and catching a movie. Teens would have their first jobs working retail there and spend their Friday nights with friends. A local mall was an economic boom. As e-commerce takes over a larger share of the retail market, many malls are closing down. 300 malls will close in the next 4 years, and hundreds more will struggle. The windows shattered, doors locked, the building abandoned. This sends a negative signal that the economy of the area is suffering. It also attracts criminal elements who can squat in and vandalize these empty buildings without much interest from local law enforcement. These giant spaces need to be revitalized in order to spur investment in the local economy and combat the urban blight associated with closing a mall.
Make malls public. You think there needs to be a government intervention to stop malls from closing? No. in the mall. You have to look up the autism one. He's like directly declared war on the Deaf to Normies Party.
As awareness of the symptoms of autism has improved, we've seen an increase in the number of children diagnosed with autism. Recent numbers from the CDC put the rate at 1 in 68 children in the US. Outcomes from autistic children are significantly better if they're diagnosed and receive the care they need.
Autism is one of the worst problems of facing the nation.
Oh, wait a minute. He supports nuclear power.
Well, he's not actually all that bad, though.
Okay.
Like, he actually supports some good stuff, like nuclear power. He wants to forgive student loans, I think.
Fund medical technology. Okay, that's I'm almost always like, if you're like invest money in technology development, I'm almost always for that.
Well, I mean, actually, some of his ideas are good, but some of them are just laughable and hilarious.
We build American infrastructure. Is there anyone who's against building infrastructure?
So if the Democrats take control of the House, they'll be very, very against infrastructure bills they're creating in the Senate, and the Republicans in the Senate will be very against bills created in the House.
Capital gains, file income taxes.
I swear to God, I saw that he wanted like government subsidized marriage counseling.
Okay, let's see. Modernized voting.
That one is so fucking great.
Robocalling text.
He wants to ban robocalling.
Modernized voting. Considering the advances in technology, let's see here. Americans should be able to vote via their mobile device with verification done by blockchain. It's ridiculous that in 2020, in the soon-to-be current year, we're still standing in line for hours to vote in antiquated voting booths. It's 100% technically possible to have fraud-proof voting on our mobile phones today using the block. How?
Can't you just have like, so say, couldn't you have some rich person, maybe like George Soros, or maybe even you, Yang,
just pay people to hand you their cell phones?
Yeah.
Robocalling text line. Okay, let's see here. Filing. What the hell's filing?
No, but we need to talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
He proposes that we should have voting on your phone as opposed to voting booths or even mail-in voting.
Mm-hmm.
That is so fucking insane.
I don't even know how that would fucking work. That's
So
like the worst idea ever.
Do you like download an app to your phone? Like, is it just like WeChat where it's like it sees everything you do on your phone ever, and it just like you?
Oh, I hadn't even thought about the surveillance aspect.
Oh no, he supports a social credit system.
Okay, this is okay. File income taxes. Okay, Andrew's policies, economic crime, pathway to citizenship, tort reform. They have to do something about tort. It's out of fucking control. Life skills education at all high schools. Okay, let's see what's this. Okay, that's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Life skills education. Things that should be taught in school. Health, preparing healthy meals, physical fitness, time management, communication, managing conflict, interview skills, financial literacy and planning. I don't think that's bad. That's
what?
This life skill education at high schools.
Well, no, I agree with it.
Yeah, that seems fine to me.
Well, no, there's a lot of things newsflash, called Nazbol gang agrees with leftists on like structural policies. Who would have thought? What does that improve the American scorecard?
Where's
He doesn't want to use GDP as a measure of economic success. Oh, look at automatic sunset laws. Automatically sunset old laws. He wants like laws to be recreated over and over again.
They're not set up to remove old laws because of this. The US code has become a bloated mess. All laws passed should have their success metrics defined and included. There should also be a sunset period, a time during which, barring congressional action, the law will be removed from the books. Okay, I kind of get maybe where he's coming from. This is an issue.
At the same time, that would mean that America has to do like, so the immigration policy would like sunset, and then you would have to redo it. Like,
okay, but for like anti-poverty programs or something, they'd have to like prove.
Well, this is impossible because of government union bureaucracies and stuff.
You're right.
You would like automatically fire them when it sunsets. You'd have to reevaluate it, and then it could sunset when you have a split Congress. So it would like, if you have a split two-house Congress,
free marriage counseling for all.
Yeah, there you go.
Children raised in two-parent households, fucking based, have better outcomes across almost every dimension. How is he able to post this?
He's like, some of this stuff is legitimately Nazbol.
Studies show that being in a happy marriage contributes to longevity and life satisfaction. However, there is currently very little support out there for people who are looking for assistance in managing their marital relationship. Marriage counseling for interested couples should be free or heavily subsidized by the government. Marriage rates have plummeted all across the board in America. If you get married, it's tough to stay together through all the stresses accompanying marriage. Any couple that stays together is a win for the next generation. We should support families who want to stay together in any way we can. Okay, that's based.
Like, some of it is legitimately based.
Prevent airlines from moving customers.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Airlines can't kick people off, fat people off airlines anymore.
Improve the American scorecard. What? Is this like the gross national happiness?
Yeah, he wants to create that.
How do you feel about that?
How do you define happiness? It's undefinable.
Oh, let's see. Medicare for all. Expand access to medical experts. Make it easy. Let's see what retirement is. I'm kind of curious.
You need to look at nuclear launch decisions too, because that's completely insane if you know anything about it.
I'll start tomorrow. What? Okay, let's see here. Opt-in retirement accounts that have defined contributions that should automatically increase. Okay. We have that in Canada. That seems fine to me. Okay, that's not an issue. What's modernized military spending? Let's see here.
I don't really understand what he's saying.
I don't know. It's just random shit.
But look at the nuclear one. Look at the nuclear one.
Who the fuck has a policy on that?
No, launch
cop gets a camera. Reduce harm to children caused by smartphones.
No, I want to talk about nuclear launch decisions though, legitimately. So he says that he wants the vice president to have to sign off on any nuclear launch. Well, first of all, that would mean that you would lose any first strike and your country would be annihilated. You would lose a first strike immediately, and you'd like any delay in a first. If you get a first strike to have a second strike, you need to have automatic. Sorry, maybe you guys aren't interested in that. You start looking at the children and smartphones.
Yeah.
This is actually based.
Okay, that's fine. Limit bureaucracy in the federal workforce. Uh-oh. They shouldn't be a protected class of worker. Technology is
what the fuck?
He's to the point where What, sorry?
Is he like an ANCAP?
We should be able to get more done with fewer people. As studies show that fewer federal employees leave their jobs than their private counterparts and enjoy much higher pension benefits. At the same time, the federal workforce is aging and struggles to recruit and retain younger. Where I don't believe that for a second that they have trouble.
No,
sorry,
they do not have trouble to get young people.
I would love to work for the federal government. Okay. The federal government can find ways to do more with less. Okay.
You want to get to the social credit system?
Okay, social credit system.
It's not called social credit. Oh, maybe digital social currency.
Volunteering at a local community center, monitoring at-risk youth, starting a book club, helping your friend recover from drug addiction. There are many actions that create positive social utility that are currently uncompensated. Enter modern time banking through digital social currency. This alternate currency would be tracked by an app.
Again, he wants to put apps on everybody's phone where the government can just spy on you.
After that, local administrators, fucking local party bosses would oversee the program. You can earn DSCs through volunteering at a local shelter, participating in a town fair, okay, and a range of activities that make your community stronger. We've seen the power of these award systems to drive behavior through online communities. Foursquare mayors.
How do you prove that you did any of these?
Each citizen would have a running tally along with an unspent total. You could offer them to a neighbor for watering your plants or taking your mail in while you're away. But you can also trade your DSCs in for special experiences, such as tickets to a local ball game or meeting with a government or civic leader.
Andrew Yang, make America economy strong.
The War on Normal. Holy fuck.
That's his book. It's called The War on Normal People.
Zoning, Pathways, Citizenship.
You want to read his actual general leftist shit, or do you think
maybe? I'm just looking to see if there's any other. Increase assistance to single parents. Prosperity grants. Closely monitor mental health.
That one.
That actually doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Well, no, it's a direct assault on Trump because there's all this stuff.
Oh, right, okay.
Because he's mentally unstable.
Hold pharmaceutical companies accountable. Let's see. Paid family leave. I don't know how to feel about paid family leave.
Well, I'm highly supportive of it.
I support it. Okay, so we're Mr. Yang has the most comprehensive and detailed set of policy proposals we've ever seen at this stage.
Isn't that like a negative thing? He's proud of it.
So
we've never seen somebody LARP this hard this early.
So what do you want to? What was it that I should look up?
Oh, we already looked it all up, didn't we?
Oh, I thought there was some general leftist shit you said.
Oh, do you want to just look at his general leftist proposals, like pathway to citizenship and stuff like that?
Okay.
He wants to make Puerto Rico a state. I think that's going to be a major thing that's going to come up in the election. People are going to be running on making Puerto Rico a state in the Democratic primaries, because then they automatically get all the congressmen in Puerto Rico and they get 2 senators. The Democrats.
Deporting them would be impossible even if one wanted to. It would cost 120 billion. How do we know it would cost 120 billion?
It's not so every single last person will be writing on the wall and they'll just stay there until you capture every last person. They wouldn't see that they can't get hired, that there's no more juice that got spilled on the floor.
Why can't we just pass a law that requires you to prove citizenship or legal residency to get
because So, do you know about identity theft?
Yeah.
That's overwhelming. That's because of illegal immigrants.
Oh, okay.
So, illegal immigration is the greatest cause of identity theft. It's like why identity theft is such a big deal because it's completely rampant and out of control because of illegal immigrants.
Uh-huh. We are a nation of immigrants.
Says the Taiwanese person who came after 1965.
Uh-huh.
This is the Taiwanese anchor, baby.
Modern time banking. Making let's see. Regulate AI and
yeah. That's actually kind of based, I think.
Let's see here. Advances in I can't believe he doesn't have one on the zombie apocalypse yet. Advances in automation and artificial intelligence hold the potential to bring about new levels of prosperity humans have never seen. They also hold the potential to disrupt our economies, ruin lives throughout several generations. And if experts such as Stephen Hawking and Elon Musk are to be believed, destroy humanity. Are either of them an expert in artificial intelligence?
No.
Okay. Technology is advancing at a pace never before seen in human history. Let's see here. We're heading into this world with no idea on how to regulate it in a regulatory system that's designed for technology that's much less sophisticated than what we're facing in the near future. Okay, I think that's fine. That makes sense. We do need to update the regulatory framework.
Well, he supports nuclear power and tort reform, and he wants to keep the malls open.
Making it easier for Americans to move for work. Okay, this sounds like Nazbol. Many Americans live in areas where there are few available jobs. However, they also don't have the means to move to an area with better job prospects. In order to help people move to areas with more jobs, the federal government should subsidize the cost for Americans who are relocating to work. Actually, I don't think that's that bad. I think they should just give a tax credit.
Prove that. I think
you have a letter. No, you have a letter of
being hired somewhere.
Yeah, and you have your current residence.
Okay.
No, I mean subsidy is kind of dumb, but if you want to make a tax credit for it, like that makes sense to me.
I think that you should talk a lot more about the affordability of housing for millennials.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a Nazbol. That's like really important to me.
But does he have anything about local journalism fund?
What the fuck does that mean?
He just has like 1 billion policies. Is he like? Does anybody think he has any chance?
Oh, I don't think. Like, sorry to be evil Nazi racist or whatever, but like, I don't think an Asian can be elected. Nobody's like, only Asians are gonna vote for you for being Asian, and then blacks will just vote for blacks for being Asians, and then
don't blacks hate Asians?
Yeah. So only people are gonna vote for you are like Asians and white Democrats, in the primary at least.
Assuming Joe Biden doesn't run.
I don't think Joe Biden's really old. And the other thing is Joe Biden, I don't think any one candidate can win before convention.
So did they get rid of the super delegates?
They have it off. So they have it to be after the super delegate. So the super delegates come in if nobody wins it outright. If it goes to convention.
They don't have multiple ballots?
It's on the second ballot.
Oh.
It's not on the first ballot anymore.
Right. I kind of prefer just going eliminating people until someone wins.
Having winner take all states?
No, I know. I mean, like just having eliminating the lowest person on each ballot until somebody gets a majority.
So, like the person who did the worst in Iowa can't run in New
York? No, the person who gets the least overall delegates gets eliminated,
It's
And
very
then,
rare for it to go to convention in modern politics.
oh, okay, because it always does in Canadian politics. Or normally it does.
Okay.
But we have ranked choice voting now, so it's not as exciting as I
In
guess.
my state, I can vote in the primary for the other party in presidential primaries and stuff.
Do you bother to do that?
Well, if it goes to the end, then I'm going to vote for the person who I think will be the worst or will split it the hardest.
Right.
So if it's going to the end and it's just like fucking Beto O'Rourke versus Bernie, I'm gonna vote for Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
Or if this guy's on till the end, I might just vote for him for the lulz. Unless
There was
crazier comes up.
Speaking of Asians, there's a guy in the distributive stream who was yelling about how he hopes whites get genocided because they're so privileged. He's like, they have the highest income and education rate of any group in America.
You should have what? Don't Asians are more educated?
Oh, I posted that. Let me find that actually.
And it's also like, but Asians have nuclear weapons and they have zero immigration. Like, and they have very low crime. That feel when you're not a gook and you want to be gook. That feel when you're using an Asian woman to be your profile picture and you want to be a gook, but you can't be. And you're stuck in this hellhole of the United States.
Okay. So let me just look at this. Come on, you can load. Okay, so the white race is doomed. I would be, but be honest with yourselves. Conservatives control literally every lever of government power. Caucasians are richer and more well-educated than any other racial group in America. Is Hollywood not casting films with all white people anymore? No. Or is YouTube preventing Alex Jones from inciting violence? I thought that he got banned from YouTube.
Got banned from YouTube.
Let's see here. So then I posted Asians have a higher average IQ than whites. Asians also have a higher education rate.
Asians have higher GDP per
I am curious. I have proven you factually wrong. Do you admit it?
Oh, he didn't respond yet?
No, he's not going to respond. These people never respond.
Do you want to sum up Yang?
Yeah, so Yang is a fucking autist.
I hope he gets to the debate stage. I want it to be like 40 fucking people on the debate stage. And then Hillary will be like, I lost because of the Russians. And then he'll just be like, we need a social credit system just out of nowhere. And everybody looks at him weird. And then he loses.
I hate the debates with like 50 people. They're such cringe.
Can you make a China economy strong song for him? But America economy strong?
America and China. America economy become as strong as China, but no economy can be as strong. America become second strongest economy in world. I don't know.
Make economy strong. Building strong economy for USA. Yeah.
USA. Anyways, I think that about covers it. Thanks for coming on, my friend. It was good, good to have you on.
Yeah.
So
buy his book, y'all.
Sorry. Good night, everybody. God bless. Once again, my book, No Chance of Postmodern Odyssey, is available in paperback and Kindle, and that is